Today's lesson is about a check. So we're kind of moving on from the pieces, and now we're going to talk about what is a check. So a check in chess is. So have you played dodgeball before? Well, dodgeball and chess have lots and lots of similarities. So in dodgeball, right, we have. So we're the player here. So it's white to move. We have a bishop. We are the bishop. So we have a check in chess, which is when the player is throwing the ball and it's aiming at somebody. So we're trying to aim at somebody today. That's our goal. Our goal to create a check. So it's white to move in this position. And can you find two checks to aim at the king? So I will highlight how the bishop moves. Can you find two checks? Well, one of them is a bishop to the square d6, right? That's pretty obvious, right? Because it must be on a long range piece. Well, it doesn't always have to be a long range piece. It can also be a knight. We're talking about how a knight checks as well. So a check. This is the obvious check, right? This is the bishop d6. But the thing is here. Remember the king lesson? The king can capture that bishop, right? Because it's what we call a hanging piece. And remember, the king can move to any of these squares. So when you're in a check, what do you do? Very simple. We have three rules or three ways to get out of check. So the first way is to capture. Can we capture this bishop? Yes, we can. If we put him on top of the bishop, jump, the bishop is off the board. What about another way? So this is a method called CPR. When you are in a check, you have these three methods: capture, protect, or run away. So we already did the first method, capture, right? Now we have to protect. Do we have any piece that can protect? Well, because we're in an endgame and we're discussing the check, we don't have any pieces to actually block. So if it was a block, it could actually we have a check here, and the king was on the square f4. The rook could be essentially somebody. So it's like somebody if you're playing dodgeball and you're trying to and someone is really fast at throwing the ball, someone could do go in front of you and defend. So that is a protect. And now back to our original position. What's the third option? The third option is to run away. But this isn't always the best method because black can always perpetual check you and always try to create counterplay, which causes a lot of problems. But that's a future video. So if we run away, right? So our runaway method is to just run away. So not be in the line of this bishop. So how can we run away? Well, quite simply, we can run away to any of our available squares. So we can move to this square, we can move to this square, we can move to this square, we cannot move here. Why? Because it's in the bishop's line. So we can move to this square, we can move to this square. So any of these squares works. But we cannot and never stay still. In a check, you have to run away, or protect, or capture, right? So that is our first example. Let's take a look at another example. So let's practice checking with Mr. Rook. So, Mr. Rook, are you ready to give a check? No, I'm not. Okay, that was just me acting out. But anyway, so remember our rook, right? Our rook moves like a compass all the way to the end of the chessboard. And if he's on the square g1, he can move to any of these squares. Now find out, I'll give you a moment, find out, or pause the video, and see how many checks can this rook have. Remember, a check is to aim at that king. Did you find the two checks? Well, one check was very simple. On the first rank, so we have rank number 1, we have rook to e1. That's a check because this king is being aimed at this rook. Mr. Rook, you evil. All right. I won't make any more jokes. So that's the first solution. What is another solution? Another solution is on the G file. So this is what we call files, going vertically, and horizontally what we call ranks. So on the G file, we can also give a check. Rook G5, right? That's another check. That's a quite a good one because that one, if we had a queen behind it, this would be a skewer. So that's a tactic that we might use. Tactic is another word for a trick, I guess. So the king has to move out, and remember our Mr. Rook moves on compass. Bam! The queen is captured. But we'll talk about that in a later video. So those were the two solutions. So and now let's practice checking with the queen. The queen is always the most powerful, and it's mostly used for queen and helper checkmates. We'll learn about that in the next video. But so let's look at this position. So in this position we have Miss Lady, the queen. So take a minute, pause the video, and see how many checks she has. There are quite a few of them. Did you find all the checks? There's a lot of them. So first we have Queen A6 that aims at the king. We also have Queen C6. We have Queen C8. We have Queen E8. And we're missing one more. We're missing one more. Actually, we're missing two more. Just realized that. Queen E4. Queen A2. There's a lot of checks here. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 checks. All to aim at Mr. Grandpa. Mr. Grandpa is not gonna have some fun today. But that is a check. And in next lesson we'll learn about checkmate. Checks are very important in chess.